whenever God gives his word, the minimum of response to the word of God is what we can find in the book of Ezekiel chapter 37 from verse 1 to 3. There are so many characteristics to the word of God, but I just want to drop just a few we got from John chapter 1 verse 1 to 4. Now, in Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 1, and the hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord, thou knowest. Now, it comes to a state in your journey where you will see certain things and there are no facts that depict the possibility of such occurrence. What is expected of the believer is, Lord, thou knowest. That is the minimum. No, certain things can be told you, certain things can be said. You picked them. It was the Lord who said them. But there is no one around you who is concurring to that. The minimum of your response is what? Lord, thou knowest. Lord, thou knowest. So you will not be like Zachariah, who said, how can this be possible? Lord, thou knowest. Hey, people, listen. After here, you will meet cases, situations that will shake you. But when you look at them and you understand that there is the power in the character of the word of God, that the word of God has a character, you will always switch back and say, what? Lord, thou knowest. So many years back, I'm a missionary, I told you. In the course of my mission trip, I traveled to visit one papa. I knew that papa when I was in SS1. He's still alive till now. He's in his 90s. When I was in SS1, whenever you go to church, you will see mad people tied in one part of the church. And no mad person stays in that church for more than 2 weeks. The Lord will always heal them. Now, this papa was not the pastor of the church. He was just an elder in church. But he has a team of people he prays with. And they always pray. So I saw what God was doing through him. And when I was in the university, he sent for me. I went to see him, to check on him. And in one of those days, I went to check on him. I just went to check on him. I was with him behind with his wife. And then he said to me, will you love to attend to anybody? I said, Papa, if you say so. Not long, I saw him met me behind. He has a good garden behind his house. He said, some persons are waiting for you in the living room. I said, okay, sir. They came so that problems will be solved. My normal me. So as I began to share scripture gently with them, I saw a woman they brought on bike. I can't imitate how that woman looked. But she was not someone who was in this life. Her skin was... There is differences between pale and white. She's naturally dark, but she was just off. You can see her bones without flesh. She was carried. They held her. Someone sat at the back of the bike, held her into that place. They carried her and they placed her on a chair. They laid her there. As I was doing my Bible study, listening to the Lord to grant me access to word of knowledge so that the prophetic will kindle and I begin to minister to these people. Whenever I turn and I look at her, is this one possible? There was fear inside of my heart. I told you when you were in that school, you can't exempt this. Remember I told you that? There was fear in my heart. Whenever I turn to look at her, if I can get anything about her, fear will come on me. So what I did was that I ignored that she was there and I continued with my Bible study. So as I continued with my Bible study, the Lord came, opened up for each and every one who was there. I think there were about 15. And then when he came to her, it was quite surprising. The Lord never gave a leading for prayer. The Lord just gave some few words. He said to her, rise up, go and bring your husband. There was no prayer like you are healed or whatever. And that woman stood up and went home and she brought her husband. I was, what? There was no prayer. There was no leading to pray or rebuke the sickness. Since then, I have learned to depend on the word of God and not what my eyes see. Are we together? So the minimum for you is what? Lord, thou knowest. Lord, thou knowest. He's the one that orchestrated everything and made you to be in the show. The reason is just so that you can bear witness. I want you to know that as much as God is using us today, we are still under preparation. And the mystery of God will have to wait for the millennium, at the end of the millennium, before the mystery of God will finish. The mystery of God will take Jesus 1,000 years to download it complete in us. 1,000 years. So however, there are so many things that God will intend to do today, not necessarily because you believe, but so so that you might believe. John chapter 8, the story of Lazarus. Now Jesus was not yet come into the town, but was in that place where Martha met him. The Jews then which were with her in the house and comforted her when they saw Mary, that she rose up hastily and went out, followed her, saying, She goeth unto the grave to weep there. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, is there somebody who has the grace to weep here? When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping with her, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled and said, Where have you laid him? They said unto him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Then said the Jews, Behold how he loved him. And some of them said, Could not this man which opened the eyes of the blind have caused that this man should not have died? Aye. Jesus therefore again groaning in himself cometh to the grave. It was a cave, and a stone laid upon it. And Jesus said, Take ye away the stone. Martha, the sister of him that was there, said unto him, Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he had been dead 4 days. Jesus said unto her, Said I not unto thee, that if thou wouldest believe, thou shalt see the glory of God? Then they took away the stones from the place where the dead was laid. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. But pay attention now, because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when he thus has spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And the dead came forth. Why did he do this? So that they might believe. Because he knows after that moment there will be a Peter arriving the grave of a 12-year-old and will remember that there is a resurrection and life in the word that he carries. Are you with me? He knows that these ones will also see situations in their journey. So these things happen so that they will do what? They will believe. Somebody, can you lift up your hand and say, Lord, do something tonight that will make me believe. Do something that will make me believe. Just do something that will make me believe. I know with you all things are possible. Do something that will make me believe. If I pass solo daiko, irondo manaselekai, ikoronfeseme koronse, enonamane. Give me a testimony that shall be a light to many. Abalunza manakai. A testimony that when it drops, it shall be an extensive testimony to many. A healing that when it comes, it shall be a transferred healing to many. Do something that will make me believe. Oh, ilakakabelai mambondo vilesu ikronto mantinene santai rokas kufele mbrompantaiko ikronti sivele seno kaindo ipantans kumantanto ranshite kome irato vantu sandu rabedekas kome sundele sekai. My eye is seeing a scanty table, and on this scanty table is someone's business, but the business is running down. Somebody say, do something, oh God, that will make me believe. I see a woman somewhere here full with indebtedness. Somebody say, Lord, before the year runs out, do something that will make me believe. Iparusa bandika mekai rabapole segekaiko igande senekame irobande mosaiko ikabensonakai robante soka ikrofe sekaiko rabante skamai baliselo ikamosantai rabadu sovelekoi ebana sunvelantikai rantu sekai kolon somenakai, rabento menato, rikakabansona fikai, rebende someto, rapensaven camelos. Ibende sombandande kameko rekes kantos kanai ikakabrontos kamakoi rekas koveso ikabrontos keveso masike pampanto rabantos kavasantai kai irakakabako mekansemene sumene saiko rebendu manisavo rapantas kamo even santantai robada sunleka broncos kayele ivanta manasondo regeda sundo brinkamase ipando sonti kabale. Only you can satisfy me. Only you can satisfy my soul.